Fantastic. Hi.
Hi, we got there.
Yes, fantastic. Cheers. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, thank you. What time is it? Should we start or not yet? Let's see.
Yeah.
It is 2 minutes. Okay, so welcome everybody and welcome James to this 4th live series of the Gold Service Scholarship live talks between some of the scholars of the past. Just for those who don't know, the Gold Service Scholarship was founded in 2012. It's one of the most prestigious awards that you can get in front of house in hospitality. It gives you the opportunity to progress and learn new skills, meet people in the industry, but you also get mentoring and placements where you get loads of experience. And I'm here today with James Fleming, who's the front of house manager at the Nomad Hotel, and I am Jennifer Santner, GM at the Grill at the Dorchester. James, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this. It's been a while since we've seen each other in person, so it's good to have a chat again.
How long has it been?
Gosh, I can't remember. It must have been back in the last sort of ceremony.
Yeah, that would be it, right? The last ceremony or the last final somewhere, probably a year and a half or something. Too long.
Yeah, too long, indeed.
But we've seen it through Zoom in the meantime, which has been great.
Yes.
Great. So, James, introduce yourself. Tell people what you've been up to the last year.
Well, during the last year, I got a new job, and as you announced, I'm the front of house manager at the Nomad London. So it's a very exciting opportunity for myself, especially given the climate with everything that's happening. Didn't really expect to have the amazing opportunity to get a new job. So it's a more senior position for myself, and I am able to now look after a much larger team and really focus on what I want as my principles of service and how we're going to run it at the Nomad. We could have opened in December. December the 1st was meant to be our first opening date, but unfortunately things changed. So now we're looking to the springtime. Obviously, just waiting to hear what happens on Monday. And it's going to be an exciting opportunity, and there's going to be a bit of understanding about how can we repeat the principles of an American company. So primarily they've got 3 hotels, 3 Nomads in the US, and this is the first opening in Europe. And what can we do? What can they do in America, and what can we take from them, and what can we understand in terms of their service principles? What can we do better, and how can we make it our way? So it's exciting.
Exciting times, and congratulations on finding a new and amazing position during 2020. Quick question though, out of personal interest, I should have asked this before the interview. I'm going to make a fool of myself, but the way it is spelled, Nomad, it is 2 capital. It's an N and an M. Why is that?
Oh, no, you're testing me. I think my GM's going to be watching this, and now I'm a bit nervous, but yeah. So Nomad, that comes from the original, the first Nomad, which is in New York, and it was in the North Madison area of New York. So that's where the name comes from. It was also, yeah, I think I'm going to stop there because I think that's correct.
See, my guess would have been not mad. So that's much better. So we're in lockdown at the moment, and you're based in London, right? How have you been dealing with lockdown? I guess you're furloughed, you're at home. What do you spend your time with?
A good question. I'm going to ask what you're going to do. What you've been doing in the meantime. You're not going to get away with that. So what have you been up to, Jen? And then
well, this 3rd lockdown has been a bit different for me because we just bought a house, so we had to move all our stuff and build endless of IKEA furniture. So that's been a bit of a change of scenery. You're not just sitting in front of Netflix all day. You actually have a purpose and something to do, which has been quite nice. And I spent a lot of time organizing trainings for the team. So this month we've been focusing on whiskey, and I'm a bit of a whiskey nerd. So we started with what is whiskey, how it's made, the different regions. I've been to Islay a few years ago, so we focused on that a little bit. We've had Bowmore talking to us, Auchentoschen, and then next week we'll be hearing from McAllen and from Highland Park. So these trainings and just interactions with the team gives me a bit of a purpose and something to do, and it's been really good.
Wow, sounds good. I'm quite jealous. I do enjoy a good whiskey from time to time, but yeah, well, lucky you.
To be fair, the first training was on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and it was a bit early in the week. We were in lockdown.
So you asked before what I've been up to. So sort of wanted to use the time as wisely as possible. I've always wanted to be able to speak French properly, so I've been spending as much time as possible trying to learn and practice my French. I'm still not there. I hope one day to perhaps be able to work abroad. So hopefully something like having a second language will definitely be a benefit. It's not as it's definitely not easy, but so
French.
French. I've always sort of had a basis and an understanding of it, but it's definitely something that takes a bit of working to get to sort of remember everything and all the grammar and stuff. And then trying to keep myself fit as well. So sort of daily exercise as well, just keep that aspect of it, keep my mind healthy and keep myself busy as well. And then in terms of the team, so a lot of the team hadn't actually started yet because we were meant to open obviously, as I said, in December. So we were hiring and looking for some of these great candidates in October, November, and obviously with the view of getting opening in December. So it's been a case of keeping them motivated, keeping them up to date with the information, sort of sharing what we can from the building. So it's a whole new renovation. So it's 2 buildings. It's now been sort of reconfigured a little bit, and there is a listed building, so we couldn't do too much to it. So there is a lot to do in the building. So the builders are still in there. Luckily, this little bit of extra time has meant that they can finish off a bit of painting and getting the rooms perfect. So it's sort of a case of keeping people up to date with what's been happening in the hotel and just keeping in constant contact. I feel that's important. It keeps the team happy. And then personally, from my side, I've been hosting sort of every 2 weeks a call with the team, just quite a casual call, letting other people host it, having icebreakers, and just getting to know each other. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's so important that companies or employers or managers keep their team informed like you're doing. So that's really good. Thank you to everyone who's joining and waving. I can see that. Thank you. 17 people watching, 14, 16 now. Do you have any specific questions for James? Please feel free to ask. 2 questions before we move on to what the Gold Service Scholarship is and meant to us is, how are you learning French? What sort of exercise do you do, and how is it going for you?
Goodness me. So I'm using a couple of apps to be able to learn French. So Babbel and Duolingo, and actually also trying to watch Netflix programs in French. So whether it's a French program with English subtitles or an English program with French subtitles, just trying to mix it up a bit different, because playing with an app all day can get a bit boring, so just something a bit different. And then exercise, I've got a couple of free weights, and then just running in a local park nearby, which is pretty good. But fortunately, during the first lockdown, when I was living with my brother, he managed to get an ergo, a rowing machine from his rowing club. So we were rowing every day, which was good.
Amazing. So if that was more French, if my French was better, I would probably test you. There's some people in the chat, which is great. Cheers to everyone. It's Friday night as well, so anyone that has a drink, cheers to you, James.
Yeah, Santner.
So the career so far, right? We're here obviously representing the Gold Service Scholarship and ourselves because we've benefited from this program so much. Our career so far, and James, you've talked so much, so I'm going to go first here, if that's okay. What have we done? Most of you know I'm from Switzerland. I started after school. And in Switzerland, it's very common to do an apprenticeship. So that's what I've done in hospitality, because I just saw there were so many areas that you could develop in hospitality. It could be front of house service. It could be cooking in the kitchen, doing laundry, getting the rooms ready for these top VIP guests to arrive in your hotel, front office, sales and marketing. Literally, it was so varied, and that's what I really loved about the industry. And I fell in love with the bar at first, and then with restaurants, and that's where I'm at now. I worked in some of the Michelin star restaurants in London, some hotels, and yeah, just a variety of it all has been fantastic. So that's where I'm at now. James, I am curious, how did you find your way into hospitality?
Well, I love telling the story. So I was studying quantity surveying at university in Bristol, and I did not enjoy it. It was something that I wanted to go to university, but wasn't too sure what to study, and I didn't know about what a fantastic industry the hospitality world is. So unfortunately, that's not talked about enough in schools and sort of university fairs and such, which is something that must change in the future. So whilst at university, I worked part-time in a local brasserie called Brasserie Blanc, and when I came to the end of my degree, one of the chaps there, they said, we've got this other restaurant called Le Manoir au Quai de Saison in Oxford, and I heard of it a couple of times from my parents, and they said, yeah, absolutely, go for it and see what it's like. So I went there for a 3-day trial. I absolutely loved it. Thought it was the best thing in the world. And from that point, and I know it sounds quite cliche, but I fell in love with hospitality there and then. I started right at the bottom. I was running trays. I had to learn everything about food, service, wine, and then sort of the interactions with guests was the next part of it. Really, you had to nail down everything you knew about the food and what was on the dish, and at that point you weren't allowed to speak to the guests. But as you worked your way up and developed yourself, you were given the opportunity to start to serve the tables, and at a 2-star Michelin restaurants, Raymond Blanc's sort of flagship, and it's a world-renowned restaurant, and so of course you don't want to make a mistake. From working at the Le Manoir, I started to do a couple of competitions and scholarships, and I entered the Gold Service Scholarship. The first year I entered, so the initial year where Rebecca won, and that was quite different from what it is now. But it was exciting. It's interesting, and all the sort of different aspects of the scholarship, whereby the different levels you had to go, and one part of the day was involved with making cocktails, decanting a bottle of wine, spotting mistakes on a table, and then another part of the day was an interview, a question, an exam, and it was something quite different. So unfortunately, I didn't win the first year, and then I thought invited to come back for a second year, and I thought, yeah, very much so. I enjoyed it so much the first time, and they talked about how much they wanted to develop it already, and that certainly sounded like something I wanted to be involved in. So I entered the second year and won. I had quite a disastrous final, so I honestly still don't know how I won, but it was good fun. It was really exciting, and from that point, I think just like yourself, it's been such a great competition, scholarship, everything to be part of, and to stay involved in it. It's really exciting, and to see where it's going to go. And I think this is our 10th year anniversary coming up.
Yeah, I think that the tasks that you mentioned are one way of learning along the way, but the other thing is that you meet people such as you and me, and on your level and in other restaurants, and you exchange information and ideas, which I find really inspiring. But you also work with these legends. I call them the legends.
Of course.
Savannah, Geraldine, and all these people that have been in the industry for 20 years. They know their game, and it's so nice to be talking to them on the same level, which is so nice and inspiring. And then, of course, all the prizes that you get as a winner and finalist. What sort of things did you get to make use of once you were there?
So one of the prizes I'm particularly proud of, but I know it's not a prize anymore, but it's a fantastic portrait by Henrietta Graham, who is a famous British artist. Who painted lots of famous chefs, and I was very lucky to get that as one of my prizes, but it's not hanging up in the flat, luckily. So I had the opportunity, and I think this is an incredible experience, was to be involved with the royal household. I absolutely loved that. I did it a few times, actually. So once I served at a head of state banquet at Windsor Castle, where it took a week to set the table. And I still can't get my head around how much detail and precision and how much sort of time and effort went into setting a table. One table for 200 people, I think, in the Great Hall. And it was phenomenal. And to be part of that and to be involved in that sort of setting up of a dinner which only lasted an hour and a half. That was an incredible experience. And then on another occasion,
did I tell you that?
Sorry?
I dropped an apple during that dinner. So bad. This apple tray, apple, and I dropped one apple. It was so embarrassing. The Queen was like 20 feet away. It was horrible.
Goodness me! All I remember from serving that is that I was in the section next to the Queen. Luckily not serving the Queen or anyone from the royal household, but there were 3 members of staff to serve. I think it was 4 or 5 people, and everything is either gold or silver, and the plates were so hot that I've got my fingers, and even though we were wearing gloves, but I don't know, the chef was obviously in a bad mood and heated up the plates. So then on another occasion, I served at a royal tea party at Buckingham Palace, and I was introduced to the Queen, and I had a conversation with her, which is quite phenomenal. And I know you met the Queen as well.
Yeah, so in 2016 is when I got my award, and I think yours was 2014. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously the winner was asked, and some of the other winners that had like a special award were asked to go up on stage and get their award, and the Queen happened to be there in 2016, so I was very, very lucky. It was wow. I actually have a picture somewhere. I should probably show it to you in a minute.
You were in the Swiss newspapers, weren't you, as well?
I was all over. Yeah, Swiss newspaper. It was like the Sun newspaper, so they were like, Jennifer's Prince was too short. Where is Jennifer's Prince now that she met the Queen? So it was like that kind of news, but in the UK it was a bit more serious, saying that the Queen recognized hospitality, which is so important and really much needed over here, I feel. It was really amazing and so memorable, and I missed my best friend's wedding. That I flew to South Africa the day after her wedding and after the award to kind of be there. It was amazing. And yeah, some of the prizes that I did, you said a lot about Buckingham Palace, and I managed to do that as well, which was nice. I went, and I think Rebecca as well. Rebecca, I think, went to Hong Kong. I went to Kuala Lumpur, and to Mandarin Oriental Hotel. So Mandarin Oriental is a big sponsor, and they hosted me for a week, if I'm not wrong. It's so long ago now, I'm getting old. So I worked in this restaurant, and I got to spend time with the F&B manager. And imagine, like, I was a young waitress. I didn't have a clue what's going on in the world, and it was really, really helpful. One, getting knowledge and experience. 2, it was boosting my confidence that, okay, I see what he's doing. I can probably do that with a bit of practice. So it really boosts your confidence if you get that experience. And I can highly recommend any competitions like the Gold Service Scholarship, Annual Awards of Excellence, Restaurant Manager of the Year, Young Chef, Young Waiter. There's so many out there. Do it. And then you make friends like James.
I mean, it's
internet stable.
Actually. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing that we've got a really fantastic group called Team Gold. I'll answer your question in a minute, Mike. We've got a fantastic group called Team Gold, whereby we've got a WhatsApp group, and there's a monthly newsletter. So we keep in touch with each other, finding out what each other's doing. We're always asking each other for advice and seeing, can we help each other, what the other team members are doing. Especially now when it's such a difficult time, I think it's always great that we've got this fantastic little sort of selective group to a degree, whereby we're going to be in touch with each other probably for the rest of our lives, and we've got now, we've made friendships with some amazing people, and it's hopefully just going to continue and get better and better as well.
Yeah, 100%. Right, James, we're going to do a quick round now. Any question I ask, you got one sentence, okay? Because Piers told us 20 minutes and we're at 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
How are you still involved in the Gold Service Scholarship? My mom's calling me.
So every year we as previous winners, we are part of the judging panel. We help with the sort of the questions and the layout for the next year. What can we do better, and what can we improve on, especially when things are changing. So this year coming, it's going to be interesting to see what we can do, especially with COVID involved.
And when do you see the hospitality returning to normal? Personal opinion.
So, I mean, sooner the better. I mean, I know everyone in the industry will be gasping to go out and have a drink and have a fantastic meal and to be served by these wonderful, team members. So I think hopefully, May, no later than May. That's what we want.
Fingers crossed. And everyone on the call, 15 people, cross your fingers now. It will happen. Yeah. Service as a career.
Service as a career is it's fantastic. I can't believe the opportunities I've had, and I mean, I studied something completely different from hospitality, and I think if anything, I could just encourage people and shout about it more. I mean, the more people involved in this industry, it may get a bit tough at the minute, but it's only going to get better and better. And this is what people want. People want to be looked after by fantastic people. So we need to be getting more schools involved and universities and telling people what a fantastic industry it is.
100%, totally agree. And now about your future, what are your plans career-wise?
I'm looking forward to getting the Nomad open and starting to really get that developed and see where we can build from there. So that's definitely sort of in the foreseeable future. Going forward from that, I think maybe going abroad, but who knows? If I have the opportunity, I'll definitely go abroad if I can. But I love London, and the opportunities that within London are sort of endless as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Piers is, asking me, how about you? What role is service playing? Why is it important? Well, I'm not such a good talker. James is so much better at this. Yeah. It's such a lovely industry to be in, and it's full of passion and crazy people and fun, and it's a people's industry, isn't it? And you can have food, but if you don't have service, it's not the same thing. I think you need both. You need great food and great service, and I don't think service should be a stiff thing. It should be approachable and engaging and full of interaction and passion and conversation. And why is it important? It's important. I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
you're great on that.
Well, I mean, I think everybody sort of can understand and appreciate how important service is, especially now, because it's going to be difficult. Maybe we're going to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future. How can we communicate in a way whereby we're still making the guests feel comfortable, yet sort of bringing over our friendly, natural sort of charisma? We need to be able to, communicating in the right way, and just obviously being safe whilst we do it. But everyone can think off the top of their heads that they can think of a fantastic meal they've had, a fantastic experience, and we just want to get back to those sorts of occasions when we've been to these amazing restaurants or bars or pubs even, and just have that sort of interaction with someone else and have a natural conversation. That's what a lot of people want. And people miss the human interaction and the human they want to spend time with each other.
Yeah, I personally can't wait to, go back. Well, at work is one thing, but also go back out and experience hospitality myself, which is something so magical about it.
Oh, yeah.
And our fellow scholar Daniele is asking in our last 2 minutes of time, what is he asking?
What was the most challenging moment
for you both at work post-lockdown? Post the first, second, or third? Well, third, we're not there yet. I think it's just like every time you get knocked down a bit, like the first lockdown was one thing and you come back with all that energy, but then a few weeks later you kind of get into lockdown again and it's just kind of and then starting again, it really takes a lot of energy to motivate everyone and get that energy back up. And the third time, well, I feel like the third time is going to be easier now because we kind of feel like it's the last time we have to get this energy up, but it's James,
I agree. I think, especially with the teams, it's that sort of motivation and keeping them going as well, because that can be sort of difficult, especially when you're not sort of got the numbers that you're used to, especially in London, where you can, during the summer when you're open, you're expecting sort of full occupancy and that sort of demand. So it's keeping the team motivated and keeping yourself motivated as well, and making sure that you're maintaining your standards and your sort of service principles. That's important.
Yeah.
And just, obviously staying happy as well.
I can't wait to get them out myself and just return to normal and not be scared of people anymore. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Yeah. Thank you, James, for taking 25 minutes off in your day to come and talk to me today. There will be more conversations between scholars and other people part of the Gold Service Scholarship, so stay tuned and keep following the Gold Service Scholarship. And I'm going to try and save this rather than use it on the internet. So have a lovely evening, everyone. If you have any more questions, message me or James will be here. Yeah. James, any last words?
No, thank you very much. It's been great fun. Really enjoyable. Thanks to everyone for viewing. Stayed above 15 viewers, so we're very happy. So.
Goodbye, everyone. Michael, good to see you too.
Bye-bye.